I think we are the one to actually thank you for giving us the opportunity to come to your town and you know, and for once we're not arresting anybody. I'm not arresting anybody anyway, so I think, which is a good thing.
He actually is, Ojo is very, very well known in his community work. He was the Global's Hero of the Year.
Oh, yeah,
And many other, if you go, he's got so many plaques and everything, so he's well known in doing this kind of.
So what area of policing are you involved with?
Actually, for the last, that was exactly 2000, I've been in the community response unit. And one of the things I have enjoyed in that position is, for instance, for this work here, I just went through my boss and says, would you ask Chief Bill Blair if it was okay with him for me to go with George to Ottawa. And my boss called back and says, well, the chief says, yeah, go for it. You know, for something like that, you know. And
he never refuses Ojo.
So he says, you know, go ahead and do it. And, so it's the section that I'm in, I deal mostly with at-risk youth.
Okay.
Some of these kids, we know for sure that, well, some of them try to hide it from me, that they have criminal records. But usually I pull them out and I show to him that, you know, you can't hide anything from the police. But the whole idea is with their friends, man, they've been told or brainwashed that if you have a criminal record, that's it, you finish, you might as well keep going. So what we've been trying to tell them is that, well, even if you do have a criminal record, if you stay in school and keep the peace,
that's right,
in 5 years we can clear that record and you back again. And so we started the program, and I went to a conference a few years ago with my former chief, Chief Fantino, and we were all talking about how these kids are so into guns and things like that. And so many of the black leaders, they denounced this gun, that kids should not be allowed to carry guns and things like that. And it came to my time to speak, and I said, well, I'm so sorry, but I disagree with that. But I think these kids should be allowed to carry guns if they like guns. What's wrong with it? So my boss looked at me like, I think you better have another job. You know, so I said, well, you see, the thing is that guns itself, the gun itself doesn't kill. Somebody's going to have to pull the trigger. I said, well, for me, these guys like guns so much. I carry one. I don't go around killing people, but I use it to protect and serve my community. So all you have to do if you want guns is join the police, join the armed forces. And then I said, well, what's good about it? Well, if you carry a gun as a bad guy, as a drug dealer or whatever, and you get killed by one of yours, the bottom line is nobody really cares. I said, but if you carry a gun as a soldier or police officer and you get killed in the line of duty, I said, have you ever watched TV and see how many people comes to bury a police officer? I said, so you die with dignity.
Interesting twist on that.
So I said, if you're going to die anyways, you might as well die doing something good. So then I contacted, because I used to be in the Canadian Armed Forces myself, so I contacted the Canadian Armed Forces and I said, well, look, I just started this program and I want to start Army and Air Force cadets so that we can get all these kids involved. So right now we have about 65 kids in there. And since we started the program, we've now got, I believe, 10 of the young people have become Toronto police officers and one joined York Regional. So we've got 11 so far.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's
for helping to turn these kids around. That's amazing.
Ojo's brainchild. That's all his doing.
No marketing required for the armed forces. It's being done from the
exactly.
I waste no time in one of the reasons why I love the job so much, working with kids, and I think they can relate to that. And I usually will tell them that coming from Africa, and I will tell them that, look, I came here with just grade 9. And I says, when I arrived, and I used to live on the street in Africa as a street kid. I says, well, if you want to talk to me about poverty, I can tell you that you don't know anything about it. I says, it was so bad that at one time, 1964, that I thought at that time that there was no future. So I decided to hang myself. And I did try. And I was only about 3 seconds away from being successful when a lady saw me and started yelling and screaming and things like that. And everybody rushed into the room, and I could tell you though that the beating that I got that day, I would have been better off dead anyways, you know. So from then on, then I decided, and then they started saying, well, look, you know, just because your parents were poor and things like that, that doesn't mean the end of the world. So then I start, you know, and so I says, well, if you think things are bad for you here, things are actually good. You should go to Africa and see what it's like over there.
Ojo, you got to tell the mayor the story on how you became a police officer.
Well, man, what happened was I actually arrived in Canada on the 17th of September 1972.
I was just going to ask you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, 72.
And when I arrived, I came out on the 19th, which was Monday. And of course, everything was wow compared to where I came from.
Okay, yeah.
So I walked out of 740 Jane Street, and I started walking south, and I end up on now what I know as Bloor Street. And the more I go, the more interesting the place looks.
Right,
So
yeah.
clean, and you know. So I end up in our area there at a place called Young and Dundas. The only trouble is, when I left, it was very Eaton Center.
Yeah.
It was very warm. When I got to Eaton Center, I was lost. All of a sudden, it get cold. So I stood at the corner there wondering, oh boy, what do I do now? I have no idea how to get back to where I came from. And this yellow car pulled beside me. These two guys came out and oh jeez. These people are giants. So one of them says to me, where do you come from? What are you doing here? So I told him, I said, I just came to the country just 3 days ago. I said, I just enjoyed the country, just walking around. But now I have no idea how to get back, and I'm cold. So he says, well, all right, get in the back. So I got in the back, and he asked me where my address. I said 754 Jane. So they drove, and anyway, I knew when we got to 754. He said, do you recognize? So yeah, that's my place. So he said, okay, well, next time, make sure you have a code. This is Canada, this is South Africa. So I said, yeah, thanks very much. So they left. And it must have been about 45 minutes after that, Mrs. Bell, who was my landlady at the time, she came to the basement and says, Ojo? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, well, you better come upstairs. There are 2 police officers looking for you. Uh-oh. Okay. So I came upstairs. And these 2 guys, and both of them are white guys, they've gone out after dropping me off and went to buy me a winter coat with their money.
Isn't that wonderful?
And say, okay, well, okay, there you go. Now you wouldn't have to freeze yourself to death. But unfortunately, because I was new in the country at the time, I didn't have the sense to ask them for their cards or name or anything.
Sure, yeah.
So then I says to one of them, I says, you know something? He says, no. Someday I'm going to be a police officer. I just said it. I have no clue. So, but I meant it. Because I said, the police officers are this good. It's not that the police officers are not good in my country, true they are, but it's just that you keep your distance.
Yeah.
You know, here you can actually walk up to a police officer, you can talk to him or her, and they will stand there. They even gave me a ride home. So then I started and I joined the Canadian Armed Forces Reserve, and then, but the biggest problem that I had was getting a job out there. And so I used to go out every Saturday morning, just knocking on doors asking for odd jobs. So I went on Eileen Crescent and Scarlet Road, and this lady opened the door, and she says, yeah, what do you want? I says, well, new in the country, I just need something to do. So she said, okay, well, I'll let you paint my fence. So I went in, she showed me how to paint the fence. And at lunch, she asked me all kinds of questions, and I told her, well, I've got partial admission at George Brown College to do upgrading. And then I'd like to go into marketing later on. So she said, oh boy, that's your first mistake, going to George Brown College. You should go to Humber College. So I said, yeah, what's the difference? Yeah. So she says, okay, I'll give you a note. So she gave me a note. So you go down to George Brown College at 27 on Rexdale. Give it to this lady, Doris Talon. Okay. So Monday morning, I went there. I gave it to her. She went in, she read it, and then she came back out and called me in. So I went inside, and Gordon Ragg was the registrar of the school there. So they both asked me questions, and then they said, so you told this leader you only have in mind? I said, yeah. And she says, and she wants us to give you a direct admission to Humber College, 3-year program. But you say you don't have the qualification. I said, yeah, I told her. I don't know why she said that. So he said, well, the letter she gave you, she also said in the letter that she believed that you can do it. So she said, but if you're having any problem, she's also instructed us to give you tutoring for every class you need and to be paid for by Humber College. So she then, Doris Talon says, how long have you known this lady? I said, Saturday. So she said, you know who that is? I said, I just went looking for you. She said, that was Florence Gale. I said, okay. She said, well, Florence Gale was, at that time, was the chairman of Humber College. And that's how I ended up.
What a story. What a story.
Yeah. So I tell these kids today that the worst thing you could do to yourself, I'm not saying we don't, I'm not saying that we do not have racism. We do. I'm not saying that. But it's just that for me, racism is not a black and white thing. It's just one single selfish individual, and they come in all colors.
Absolutely.
So, so I said, if you're looking for help from somebody, and you walk into their office and you see that the pigmentation is not the same as yours, and right away you get the attitude that, oh, I'm not going to get the job anyway because. I said, well, it doesn't matter what they ask you. Once you have that in your mind, you will not give them the right answer. So it's not that you don't get the job because of them. You're not getting the job because of you. So give them a chance because they don't know you yet. So how can you trust a stranger? You've got to know them first to trust them. So I just walk in there, let them know you need the job, you have the qualification, and if you don't, say, I don't have the qualification, but I'm sure you could give me something else to do for now. I said, sometimes if you are a real pain in the neck, they'll probably give you the job anyway.
What a message to give to kids. That is really a wonderful story and a great message. Yeah. So some of your success, you have to though admit that was luck that you knocked on that lady's door that day, right? And then the rest of it sounds like it was hard work, right?
I didn't go beyond luck.
Most of it was hard work. That's great. You're walking, you're wearing the proper shoes.
I am.
And he's clomping along in
Just mark it up.
There's something wrong with this picture.
That's the African spirit.
Because we know when he's going to be busy.
Well, I was very pleased to meet you, and I wish you a very pleasant evening here in Carleton Place. And so you're just going to go back out
to the
highway. You're going to just turn around.
Yeah, and just go
back
to the
out to the
hotel.
main. Yeah. You passed the hotel coming in.
Yes, we did.
Sure.
So we're
and we talked to our MPP, Randy Hillier,
as well, both of them.
Okay.
So if we can get them both on board as well, that would be a plus. So we're trying to recruit as many people.
Great.
So hopefully by tomorrow or tonight, depending on how Dawn feels, we can get this all ready. Then we can
email you the little bits because
Sure, you added it all in.
Yeah, exactly. So we got kind of
a number of times.
We're blessed to have these two individuals here.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you ever so much. It was very nice meeting you, and enjoy the rest of your stay in Carleton Place. Your time at the hotel and the restaurant too. So congratulations and thank you for what you're doing.
Your kindness and graciousness is what keeps us going.
Good. And I'll keep my fingers crossed for better weather tomorrow.
Oh, well, we just got to.
You'll have to come in the summertime when we pride ourselves on our branding is Meet Me on the Mississippi. Today isn't the nicest day to meet anybody in the Mississippi River.
Well, we can just go for that.
Well, we're heading back here when that bill gets passed. We want to think positive, so we can do a jubilation walk next time.
And we can also get Dawn's fiancé to help us arrange all the keys.
Yes,
we
usually work with the school kids.
Of course, today, even if you wanted to have school kids, you wouldn't because the schools are closed.
And exam week as well.
Exactly, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Great, well, thanks very much. So you could, I'll see you out. No, you go. I'll show you anyway how to get out.
You guys are okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, again, that's because some of the